committed to excellence and citizens committed to fairness. What we need now is alignment. And panel discussions and conferences like these provide that opportunity. A collective decision that Jamaica will no longer tolerate corruption as normal. A collective commitment that integrity will guide our institutions, guide our businesses, and guide our communities. But let me be clear. As I stand here before you, there's one aspect that I cannot ignore. Leadership matters. Integrity is not enforced only by laws. It is enforced by example. Quite recently, I was speaking at a mess dinner, a formal dinner for warrant officers and senior NCOs in my formation. And I remember one of the senior NCO came to me and he said, "Sir, if you could tell us one thing that you believe is critical for success and for motivating and for encouraging our subordinates, what would it be?" And I said, example. We've often heard a lot of persons talk and they ask questions like, what is your superpower? I believe example is a leader's superpower. By your example, you shall solve almost every problem. As leaders, we are respected in every sphere. We are shaping cultures in Jamaica. Every decision we make, every standard we enforce, every choice to speak up or to remain silent sends a message. And history will judge us not by our intentions, but by our impact. And that is something as leaders we also have to appreciate. We will not be judged solely by our actions, but by the actions of the persons we lead. And by and large, they are looking at us. As I approach the end of my remarks, let me speak as a soldier and say, integrity is not only a moral issue, it is a national security issue as well. Corruption weakens our borders. It undermines law enforcement. It enables organized crime. And it erodes trust in the government. And when citizens no longer believe in their leaders, instability grows. And again, it becomes a national security challenge. But integrity strengthens everything it touches. So let's understand clearly. Integrity is not about being soft. It is strong. It is not weak. It is powerful. And the Jamaica that embraces integrity will not only be more prosperous, it will be safer, stronger, and more resilient. So here is my call to everyone in this room. To government leaders, set the standard. Do not only talk about integrity, live it, enforce it, model it. To the private sector, compete fairly. Do not cut corners. Build the trust with your customers and your partners. To law enforcement, enforce the law without fear or favor. Let no one be too powerful to answer, and no one too small to matter. To civil society, demand accountability. Shine the light where others prefer the shadows. And to every citizen of this wonderful country, remember that every decision counts. Integrity is not only the responsibility of leaders, it is the responsibility of us all. Because in the end, no anti-corruption program, no law, no speech can succeed without the daily commitment of every citizen. Thank you.
Thank you, Brigadier. And I think one of the most impressive part of an illustrious career by Brigadier is his collaboration with the Jamaica Customs Agency, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, before we hear from the world-renowned Jamaica Customs Choir, we have a special presentation for Brigadier Clark, and at this time I'd like to invite Mrs. Carissa Bryan-Smith, Legal Officer of the Jamaica Customs Agency, to make that presentation. So, Brigadier, would you join us again on the platform? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Brigadier Clark, on behalf of the Jamaica Customs Agency, I wish to, excuse me, my apologies. I wish to extend our heartfelt gratitude for you taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today. Your presentation was timely. It was well received, and we certainly look forward to incorporating that knowledge here at the Jamaica Customs Agency. Many thanks, and we wish you all the best in your endeavors, and we hope you enjoy your token.
Thank you. So at this time, we will hear from the Jamaica Customs Agency Choir once again. Put your hands together.
Doop, da doop, da doop, down, down, doop, da doop, da doop, down, down, doop, da doop, down, down, doop. I remember when we used to sit down, doop, in a government yard in Trench Town, about observing the hypocrites as they would mingle with the good people we meet. Down, down, doop. Good friends we've had, oh, good friends we've lost along the way. In this great future, you can't forget your past, so dry your tears, I say. Down, down, doop. No woman no cry. Down, down, doop. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. Down, down, doop. No woman no cry. Hey, little darling, don't shed no tears. Down, down, doop. No woman no cry. Everything is gonna be alright. 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 No woman no cry. Down, down, doop. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. Down, down, doop. No woman no cry. Doop, da doop, da doop. Down, down, doop. Da doop, da doop, da doop. Down, down, doop. Da doop, da doop, da doop. Down, down, doop.
Don't look back, don't be scared. We've got dreams and we're still young. Just think about how far we've come. Think of all we have shared. It's a wonder we survived. But here we are and we're alive. Can we hold on, take a moment to celebrate? Oh, now before we are gone, take a moment to celebrate. Celebrate.
There's music in the wind. Let's dance one more time.
One more time.
There's a rhythm deep within. Let's dance one more time.
One more time.
One more time. Sing the song. There's a power in our voices, hopeful and strong. Years from now, somewhere down the line, we'll remember and we'll all sing one more time. One more time. Sing the song. There's a power in our voices, hopeful and strong. Years from now, somewhere down the line, we'll remember and we'll all sing one more time. Si se la velela, there's music in the wind. Let's dance one more time.
One more time.
There's a rhythm deep within. Let's dance one more time.
One more time.
One more time. Sing the song. There's a power in our voices, hopeful and strong. Years from now, somewhere down the line, we'll remember and we'll all sing one more time. One more time. Sing the song. There's a power in our voices, hopeful and strong. Years from now, somewhere down the line, we'll remember and we'll all sing one more time. Si se la velela, si se la velela, si se la velela,
One more time.
si se la velela,
Sing the song.
si se la velela,
One more time.
si se la velela,
One more time.
si se la velela,
One more time.
si se la velela, si se la velela, si se la velela.
Thank you. Did you enjoy that? If you did, give them another round of applause. Thank you. And if you are looking to book them for an event, my number is 8690-0377. I will assist you. All right, so the day is going. We had a little interruption, and I just wanted to say thank you for staying, those who did. I could point out, I was very observant, I could point out all the persons who left. But it's just a couple persons that left. So, and yes, Corahan, I know that you're still here. And the person who was my table mate that I thought left, Corahan is engaging him at the back of the room, so nobody left, so thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take some time, just about 10 minutes, don't move, because there will be a video presentation while we prepare for the panel discussion. So sit back, and there's a nice little video presentation that you'll be treated to while we do the transition. Thank you.
"2013 for the Jamaica Customs Agency was a year of transformation and facing new challenges. Let's take a moment to recap the last 10 years.
It was a year like no other. On March 28, 2013, the Jamaica Customs Department was designated the status of an executive agency with an effective date of April 2, 2013. The agency undertook a journey towards the modernization of the entire organization. Embarking on the journey, a technical, operational, and human resource transformation was deemed necessary, and having the right tools in place was essential. This transformation has paved the way towards an increased and improved online presence, paperless solutions, and a revamped legislative framework. We live by the premise, keeping our customers in focus. Our employees are provided with ongoing trainings and are continuously upskilled and reskilled. Our human resource management and development programs are crafted to intentionally empower and develop the capacity of the staff to maintain a cadre of employees that can respond to the demand of a world-class customs agency. Achieving excellent customer satisfaction is a primary focus of the agency as we continue to build a culture of trust and understanding through our international quality assurance standards, demonstrating that customs cares. Today, nearly every aspect of our operation is being digitized and automated, underpinned by a robust state-of-the-art technological landscape. Our advancements on this front also saw the JCA being a core site in the GovNet project, interconnecting various government digital infrastructures. As a part of the evolution, we acquired and implemented the Automated System for Customs Data, ASICUDA. Modern capabilities allowed for integration, risk management, compliance, and transparency, resulting in efficient, effective, and significantly reduced clearance time and cost. Stemming from the success of the ASICUDA project, the Jamaica Single Window for Trade, J-SWIFT, was born. J-SWIFT serves as an electronic platform which allows traders involved in cross-border trade to submit transactional information through a single web-based access point. This electronic platform is a collaboration administered by various cross-border regulatory agencies and participating government agencies. Our transition to a modern world-class customs administration necessitated the provisioning of online services to be made available, enabling 24-hour operations. The technological revolution within the agency over this past decade has also impacted how we safeguard our borders. The revolution resulted in the advancement of the Border Protection Division, which continues to build our risk management, intelligence, and investigative capacities while employing new technologies to better detect, deter, and interdict persons involved in transnational criminality. With over 1,300 employees, the Jamaica Customs Agency is growing to be one of the largest law enforcement agencies, with its main goal of keeping us safe while facilitating trade and generating revenue for national development. We know that this could not be done in isolation, but rather required the cooperation of all border regulatory agencies. We continue to connect and collaborate with innovators across various industries while building strategic partnerships.
Look into the future. In the face of new challenges and possible threats, we embrace cutting-edge technological solutions and innovative approaches to sustain the evolution of the agency, continuing from a modern, world-class customs administration into a world-leading customs. We continue to prove our resilience by always placing country above self.
We are engaging, innovative, and progressive. For us, it's not business as usual. We are the Human Resource Management and Development Division, HRMD. Come with us as we introduce you to some of our cutting-edge programs aimed at revolutionizing HR within the Jamaica Customs Agency. I am Tamara Archer-Reed, Senior Director, HRMD. Our intent in the Human Resource Division is to transform lives through the development of new programs while offering new and improved services as we connect with Team Customs. These, coupled with a healthy buffet of benefits, have allowed us to build a culture of trust and care. Yes, Customs cares. Come with Sean as he takes you on an employee well-being journey.
The Employee Relations section has implemented various initiatives that are geared towards improving the quality of the employee experience within the JCA. We have been focused on employee well-being management, and in order to realize that, we have bolstered our Employee Assistance Program, the EAP, which provides employees with 4 counseling sessions that the agency pays for, and that is extended to your immediate family members. We have noticed since the pandemic that more persons are accessing this service, and we continue to encourage persons to take it up. Our peer support network, PSN, is an extension of the Employee Assistance Program. In this program, we have identified 30 employees in the agency whose capacity we have been building in order for them to be better able to provide support in an immediate way at the unit levels and to guide employees to accessing the services that are required, professional or otherwise, in order to respond and treat with their various challenges that they encounter on a daily basis. And on World Mental Health Day, we will be introducing these persons to the JCA. Our rewards and recognition program has been formalized, and we now have a system in place where there is transparency and efficiency in how we identify employees who are performing at commendable levels in over 10 categories. And annually, on International Customs Day, we celebrate with them. We celebrate with you, Team Customs, for the outstanding work that you do in this agency.
To preserve this atmosphere, we have implemented programs such as HR Empowerment, HR on the Move, HR Buzz Magazine, just to name a few. Let's explore some moves with Arlene.
Our vision for health and safety within the agency is one in which every employee knows and owns their responsibility in creating and maintaining the highest degree of physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. This, of course, is supported by leadership employee engagement, risk mitigation, and capacity development. Some of the programs that we have successfully implemented include our physical activity program, #Customs Moves, and we have also dedicated an entire month to focus on employee health and well-being, our month of wellness. We have also implemented a number of new training programs geared towards bolstering our employees' capacity to work safely. Two of these programs include our vessel boarding and sea safety, and also our incident response and crisis management training courses. On the horizon, we have our medical monitoring program, as well as our environmental management program, geared towards ensuring that as an agency, we manage our impact on the environment.
Our transparent recruitment and selection process afforded us the opportunity to handpick you, Jamaica's finest. We ensure that our talents are upskilled and reskilled. We continuously monitor and evaluate performance for collective organizational success. Before you retire, stop by and say hi to Andrea.
In assisting the staff to transition by retirement, the unit provides various programs and sessions geared at financial management and also investment management. And this is offered through one of our programs called the Value of Your Gratuity. We also recognize that mental readiness is really important to this whole retirement process. And so the unit provides a program which is called the Psyche of Your Retirement. Additionally, the unit also plans retirement sessions, and these are one-on-one programs where we invite external stakeholders, and these are ministries, agencies, private organizations that has programs that are geared towards persons either near retirement, persons at retirement. We recognize, most importantly, that we need to have that conversation with the staff who is nearing retirement. And so we offer that safe space where that staff is able to discuss any worries that they may be having, any concerns, any fears. It also gives us the opportunity to discuss with that staff specifically about them in terms of retirement. So these are some of the initiatives and programs that the unit has been using over the time to engage with our staff in positioning them to manage financially, emotionally, and psychologically at retirement.
Team HRMD, we engage, enhance productivity, and facilitate growth.
Somewhere inside each of us is a calling. It's what gets us out of bed in the mornings. It's not just a routine, but something greater. It's the spirit that makes us move with alacrity. The difference between a job and a career. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Between just living in the world and making a difference. Fulfilling a dream and impacting the nation. We care. We are here to serve. We inspire. We innovate. We are leaders. What we have can't be bought or borrowed. Our integrity matters. We protect Jamaica's borders, facilitate trade, and optimize revenue collection. We are the Jamaica Customs Agency, placing country above self.
The Pesticides Control Authority, PCA, of the Ministry of Health has been onboarded to the Jamaica Single Window for Trade, JSWIFT. Effective April 11, 2022, the Pesticides Control Authority, PCA, has been facilitating online applications of all import permits for pesticides, herbicides, fumigants, and other related products. Traders and their agents will now be able to make online application to obtain both pre- and approved permits, and also make payment for the PCA import cess. Benefits include a single application for multiple items within the same shipment, faster processing, increased convenience, and ease of doing business. The PCA import permit service now on JSWIFT.
Traveling to Jamaica with unaccompanied shipment? The Jamaica Customs Agency is encouraging all air passengers with unaccompanied shipments who have a taxpayer registration number, TRN, to present it to Customs upon arrival. This will subsequently facilitate faster processing when clearing your unaccompanied shipments. The Jamaica Customs Agency will continue to implement measures to improve our service delivery and your service experience. You may contact us at 876-922-5140-8 or email public.relations@jca.gov.jm on this and other customs-related matters. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We are now ready to move into the heart of today's program, which is our panel discussion. This is where ideas will be challenged, experiences will be shared by our esteemed panelists, and practical solutions will be explored. As we shared earlier today, the theme is building trust, strengthening integrity, a shared responsibility. And this reminds us that integrity does not live in isolation. It thrives in environments where leaders are feel empowered to demand fairness and justice. And our panelists will help us to unpack some of these critical themes and questions this afternoon. And so in the interest of time, because we had the interruption earlier, and each of these panelists are very esteemed with very long bios, so we're going to keep it very short in terms of the introductions today. And to my far, 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 far right, we have someone who is no stranger, right? If he's a stranger to you, that means that you don't live in Jamaica and you live somewhere very, very, very far. We have former Senator Dr. Norman Washington Grant, ODJP. And former Senator Grant is a chartered accountant, a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Jamaica. He has many years of experience employed at the Mavis Bank Coffee Factory Limited, and he's currently the managing director and CEO and has been in this capacity for over 12 years. Put your hands together for Dr. Norman Grant. We have beside Dr. Grant a gentleman that is, if you're into the logistics business, you should know him. And if you want to get some business done with Kingston Wharves Limited, you should know him. Mr. Alfred McDonald is the Business Development Manager at Kingston Wharves Limited, and he has an extensive experience across both seaport and airport logistics as a former Senior Director at the Airport Authority of Jamaica. Put your hands together for Mr. Alfred McDonald. Next to Mr. McDonald, we have Mr. Dwight Thompson, and he is employed to the Jamaica Broilers Group for over 25 years. That was when I was just in basic school. He currently serves as the logistics team leader, where he manages the logistics segment for all of the divisions of the group. Put your hands together for Mr. Thompson. And this one, I contemplated how to do it, This is my immediate supervisor, so if I'm extremely nice to him, you'll understand today. We have Mr. Marlon Lowe. Mr. Marlon Lowe is an attorney at law, but more importantly, he is the Deputy Commissioner in charge of Border Protection at Jamaica Customs Agency, and he wears many caps and has been with the agency from in the 90s. And I will leave it at that. Put your hands together. Put your hands together for Mr. Marlon Lowe. And we have this gentleman, he's not Rocky Balboa, but certainly I think maybe at some point he could have maybe matched up somewhat. He's Rocky Allen, and he serves as the Group Security and Facilities Manager for Derrimon Trading Company Limited. And if you know anything about Derrimon, Derrimon is a big deal in Jamaica. He began his career with the Jamaica Constabulary Force and have served with some of Jamaica's most renowned security service providers in Jamaica. Put your hands together for Mr. Rocky Allen. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a bit to unpack this afternoon. And we have one panelist who is so very, very important that he can stay the entire discussion with us today, but we are not going to allow him to escape without providing some valuable input to the discussion this afternoon. And I want to throw a question out there to the panelists to start the discussion. And it has to do with the issue of trust. And I want to know, and I'm sure the audience is interested in knowing, both those who are in-house and those who are with us online, why is trust such a critical currency for public and private institutions? And how do we strengthen trust when we have a culture, at least there's a perceived culture of corruption? How critical is trust as a currency for both private and public institutions? And in light of our culture and the perceived culture of corruption, how do we strengthen and build on this currency?
Okay, can I?
And we can start with Dr. Grant.
Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to just take the opportunity to greet you all and to say good afternoon to you and to commend the Jamaica Customs Agency for this educational program. For me, we're talking about culture. And I think a lot of times we fail to understand that we need to engage in a national discussion around values and attitude. We kick it down the road, and we kind of we accept where we are, but I think in order to build trust as a people, as a nation, we need to engage in an individual, an institutional, and a national campaign where we get every single Jamaican to engage in a process of knowing what is the right thing to do and do it. And I think it's going to take, a tremendous level of commitment to do that. And unless we start that process, we're going to have a situation where we will not be able to build trust as a part of a fundamental framework of governance and government. And one of my conviction is that we need to engage in a process from school, church, our daily lives. We need to start that process, and also to ensure that there's a process of accountability as well. Yeah. If you do it right, you will be rewarded. If you do it wrong, it doesn't matter who you are, you will face the consequences.
I want to pick up on that, if I may.
You may go.
Good afternoon, all. Let me first of all commend Madam Commissioner and her team for an excellent job. Madam Commissioner, I think you're a benchmark in Jamaica for what is institutionalized, what is appropriate, what is the appropriate managerial systems, processes to achieve what my colleague and friend just described. Having said that, though, I am kind of not as young as most of the panelists. So I remember the days in school, we used to learn a thing they call civics. Anybody remember civics?
No. not old enough.
You heard about it. And I start there because we grew up in an era when we were, quote unquote, less, a little poor, less materialistic, less rich in material, the tangibles. But I guarantee you one thing, our grandparents and others through the various institutions, including the church, Youth for Christ, Boy Scout, Girl Guide, you name it, and the school, taught us to be good citizens. That's where it began. We abandoned that. And even though my colleague mentioned values and attitude is also critical. But one thing I tend not to do, and I encourage my fellow Jamaicans to consider, there's no need at this time to remake the wheels anywhere. There's best practices all over. My esteemed speaker spoke about 2 countries. One of them is Singapore. And I respect your presentation, sir. Singapore achieved that through dictatorship. When I say go, you go. Back in the days, my grandmother would say, when I talk, no. I won't repeat it here, but you know what I mean. Jamaican culture is a bit different, even though we want to achieve the same thing. So in a nutshell, without taking up too much time, I'm saying some of us are uncomfortable beginning at the beginning because it might take long. Right? The World Championship is going on. None of these athletes, including Oblique, became an 100-meter World Championship the other day. It's hard work. The grind, my colleague mentioned. It's a lot of sacrifices. It's sticking to your training schedule and your values. And internationally, as I wrap up, we grew up to look at what we call role models. I have 3 beautiful daughters, and sometimes I wonder who should I point to as a role model. I can't look to the south, but I won't call name here. Sometimes I don't know where to look to. So I will wrap up this section by saying, I never want to be guilty of what some of my colleagues and fellow Jamaicans are guilty of. And a former leader said it once in a different way, and I repeat it. Action, not a bag of mouth. We talk a lot, including we're going to do so today again. And this is not my first time on this forum. And everywhere and every opportunity I get to speak, privately or publicly, in the boardroom or otherwise, I control myself in trying not to say too much if I'm not able to carry out the function that reflects what I say. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Lowe, and then Mr. McDonald.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Commissioner, and our viewers online. I would say that trust is built on 2 things, integrity and partnership. Those 2 things. And I think all the accolades that Customs get in today, even this forum, is because of those 2 things, integrity and partnership. If you look at our core values, CAPIT, a centerpiece of it is integrity. But to bring it home, I would just mention our premier program, which is the Authorized Economic Operator Program, which, and Rocky, you're very familiar with that, with about over 30% of our large importers benefit from. And that is a means of trade facilitation with little intervention, but the borders are secure. Why? Because there is trust. There is trust from customs, and there is trust from the private sector to customs. So that is partnership, and customs involved in a lot of partnership. We have our business interactive forum, we have our quality assurance meeting, we have our customs meeting community, and all of that build trust along with partnerships through our social media and otherwise. So I would say two things very important: partnership and integrity, which are the cornerstone of customs right now.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Mr. McDonald?
Yeah, so I'd like to add my commendation to the Commissioner and team for this very valuable forum. I want to just follow on what was said a while ago, because there is the other side of trust. Why do people not trust? And they do not trust because they don't have a sense of fairness. The system is not fair, and therefore they won't trust it. The system is not transparent, and they'll therefore have a problem trusting the actors in the system. Then there is the whole matter of, as well, the system does not provide for accountability. When an individual breaks the rules, then, what happens? So that's the other side of it. And I think certainly in the business environment where there are opportunities for people to get through without paying all of the fees and find another way to do it, when there are complex documents to be completed or the process is long, people want to find a way to get around that. Trust is therefore built when there is a degree of predictability in the system, when there is transparency, when there is integrity in the actors that superintend that system. And this is what we want to build. And I agree that we need to actually have a way that we can say to all of the actors in the system, young people, people doing business, and people just going around, to know that not having a trust quotient in our society drags us down. The speaker said it. And we therefore need to think about being fair, think about being transparent, and think about being accountable, adding to what was said earlier, partnership and integrity.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mr. Thompson, you want to jump in?
We need to, good afternoon, this forum. Sorry. Yeah, so good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. This forum is indeed one of great importance. Trust definitely is an important aspect, and we need to embark on processes that, foster a culture to do what is right. The gentleman spoke of a lot of examples.
Yes, I can bring it close to them.
Oh, they're coming out
there. Yeah. All right, so we're getting some technical help. So in the meantime, while we get the technical help, Mr. Thompson, and we'll come back to you as they sort that out. Dr. Grant, I want to ask you a question. If you had to recommend one bold but realistic measure to build trust and strengthen integrity in Jamaica, what would it be? I know you spoke about values and attitude and about knowing what is right and rewarding what is right. And so that is good from a higher level. But in a practical sense, if there was something that we as an institution can do, you in the private sector could do, and as a country, If there was a bold, realistic thing that we could do right now to move the ball down the wicket, what would that be?
Okay, so I'm representing the Small Business Association of Jamaica. We have about 400,000. And just to bring it down to your level, commending the Commissioner of Customs, is defining, understanding what your role and your objectives are to your major customers. And how can we define and communicate that to them and build capacity? For example, so I run a large operation. So when I need to clear, items from custom, I call my custom broker. But for small businesses, how can you make the process a lot simpler for them? By developing programs that small entrepreneurs can meet with you, interact with you, and you take them through the process, in a very simplistic way that they can understand, and they do not need to engage the type of costs that other larger businesses can afford to carry on their normal activities. And so I think forums like these are very, very important for small business operators to be engaged, for you not only to have forums like this here, but for you to reach out to the associations and get officers to go in and engage them and really take them through the process and assist those small businesses to build capacity and have the knowledge and the confidence in the overall process. So I think your efforts, bringing it from a macro to a micro level, is how do you create a process that will enable business to access these services that you have available without engaging a third party.
Yeah, thank you. And the question is, to your point, I'm going to speak now as the president of the private sector organization, PSC, and the AEO program, and let me explain what that is. In 2014, the Jamaica Customs Agency put together what is called the AEO program, Authorized Economic Operators Program. At that time, there was about 8 to 9 registered members. In 2015, our company, Diamond Trading, became the 10th on the list. We're at 135 registered members now, which I'm the president of. And what we have seen since that, and I did some research in preparation for this panel discussion, is that we have had absolutely no reports over the since 2014 of any issue of corruption within the private sector in its interaction with custom. That's amazing. No. So to your point, if we can replicate that to respond to a large percentage of the smaller business sector, which I know they're on at some intent to do, because they know into not only import, but they know getting into exports.
Sure.
But the point I'm making is that they created a system of such where we, for example, that are taking in over 40 foot containers of goods per week. Prior to us being certified, that would have been a bundle. Would have been lost of money because of the time it takes for goods to clear and get out to my suppliers. Big difference. So what I'm saying in a nutshell, it makes the system easier.
Sure.
So less potential are there to bribe,
sure,
to cut shortcuts, and so on. There's a template. So you ask the question, Mr. Moderator, what do we do?
Right.
It is in our face what to do. with the greatest of respect, when I leave this room, as I said, we were number 10, and let me make another comment without dominating. The AO rep come to my company, and I am the president of the PSC. And when them come and say, Mr. Allen, the process demand that you do X or Y, why are you slightly short? My status has nothing to do with what is it they're requiring of me.
Sure.
Give them a round of applause. Yeah. Then I have to write to them, sometimes write to my good friend here, and ask if some consideration can be given. And then it's taken to a committee to be evaluated, and for the commissioner herself to give her final say whether we amend some aspect of the regulation or so on. But no specific individual will get any true way without that process. What I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, the system are there. In relation to what you said, my colleague, I agree 100%, and I know they're on a method. But I wanted to say one other thing. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, as an example, is almost becoming second to Jamaica Customs Agency in respect to its management structure and systems. And if that occurs, we all can celebrate down the road. We can't start celebrate from now, because murder is down and crime is down. Because of better management and resource. But then having put in the resource and the management, people have to manage and supervise. And you have to do so without malice or ill will, favor or affection. You mentioned that I was a part of the police force, 1978. Don't believe it. And I took a oath. I will serve the office of constable at the time. Without malice or ill will, favor or affection, I take it very seriously. Not to make me perfect. So, I'm saying, every organization in Jamaica, including public ones, can look to the Jamaica Customs for a template, if they want one.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. And the authorized economic operator program is a big deal for Jamaica Customs, and it is built on trust. Verifiable trust, right? So it's not empty trust, right? And it meets the international standard. But I think what you have said very importantly is the growth in that program, right? And Dr. Grant, I think what you said is also important, that we must figure as an organization, and these are not just empty discussions we're having, these discussions inform policy. How do we translate what the large companies can benefit from? How do we translate that to the micro, small enterprises? All right, so that's a great point. So one of the things in Jamaica that challenges us is corruption is, I think it's fair to say it's criminal, right? But we have a culture where people don't like to talk. Like, nobody don't want to be an informer. So the question that comes to mind is, how can we create a culture where we protect whistleblowers in Jamaica? And I'm directing that first to Mr. Lowe, to better protect whistleblowers and to encourage Jamaicans to, in essence, when you see something, say something. So I know, for example, in customs, we have this ad that goes out and say, if you see the guns and whatever, call 311 or whatever the number is. But there's still that pervasive culture. How do we tackle that and create an environment, whether in customs or in the private sector, where you see something, you say something?
So I know it's easy to say training and publicity and all of that, and that might be the easy answer. Sometimes we already have the system in place, and what we need to do is enforcement. So in 2011, and it became effective 2012, there has been a Protected Disclosure Act. And in 2012, there were the guidelines. And if employers, public and private, follow that, and everybody do their jobs, then persons will be encouraged. But guess what happened? We have a lot of entities that should lead that process, and it starts with the Integrity Commission as the designated authority. In the same efforts and resources that they give to statutory declaration and all of that, they need to give to the disclosure, whistleblowing. They need to give to whistleblowing because they are the designated authority. A lot of persons don't know that also there are some prescribed entities, the Commissioner of Police, Children Advocate, DPP, Auditor General, NEPA, Bureau of Standards. There's about 20 of them, and they are in legislation, prescribed entities that persons can also make disclosure to. But also, the private sector and government entities need to follow the guidelines and put in the systems for encouragement. So my recommendation would be that there needs to be focus to ensure that what is required under the legislation, which is good legislation, become mandatory. And I think there are some ways to start it. As I say, you start with the Integrity Commission. They need to do what they need to do. But persons who are getting large government contracts, for example, the government should ensure that these persons have established guidelines regarding whistleblowing and also possible listed companies. But don't forget, it should start with ministries, agencies, and departments. And that's what the government has control over. So all of these should have established guidelines for whistleblowing, and it should be enforced. And I think we can start there. As I said, it's easy to say educate, training, and all of that. But the framework is there, and there are a lot of players who just need to do what they need to do. And we just need to find a mechanism for that to happen. I think with the new Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, that could be a primary task for them to ensure that the whistleblowing legislation is enforced in private sector and also in government.
Thank you. I don't know, Sir McDonald, you want to jump in on that discussion?
Right, just a few comments on that. So I agree entirely with what was said a while ago. In fact, at Kingston Wharves, we also have a whistleblowing culture, policy as well in the company that we encourage our staff members to use. I think there is a larger issue, though, can I just say? We have come up, many of us, with this catchphrase, the informer for dead. We know that, right?
Culture.
And we should find something that vehemently push back against that. What is a phrase that we're going to be now raising our society with that pushes away that kind of sentiment? A couple of years ago, we had the JPSCO ad that some people used. I think that ad was, how come? How come people are, doing these things of bridging light? How come? What do we do to change that kind of thinking so that people feel free to say, how come? How come we see the senior director doing things under the table? How come do we embrace a man pushing something that is not right? So I think we need to look at culture and to cause people to feel free to speak, and that there'll be no kind of punishment, any kind of retribution for speaking. And you said it right, that needs to be taught from a young age to rebuff that kind of thinking. And then that will set the platform for people to feel that I'm in a new culture, a culture where when I speak, I'll be celebrated. I will not be looked down upon. When I find something to be not right and I say something to somebody, then I am going to be the one that will be rewarded for doing something that is right. instead of punish because I've informed. We need to look at that as a cultural thing that will push back against that norm.
Yes, Mr. Grant.
Yeah, my final comment, and I'd like to just apologize to you all. I did have a previous engagement that will force me to exit after here. But the issue of Whistleblower Protection Act and framework, I think it is extremely important that we look on what we have now and how we seriously operationalize it. Because in Jamaica, yeah, it is well said that informer must be dead. From you inform on somebody, right? It's like a death sentence. So I'm saying that we need to create, nationally and institutional, where there is an incentive to bring forward what is truth. The second thing is personal responsibility, right? We have to engage in a process where we are committing to do the right thing, right? In the interest of ourselves, our company, and the country. You know, I'm leaving to Japan over the weekend, and they have the highest suicidal rate. You know why? Because when they are wrong, right, they shame themselves. In Jamaica or elsewhere, I mean, we do the thing and we know we do the thing, and we do everything to get away and say, boy, you know, I trick them again and I get the better of them again. There is a culture that we need to change. And it doesn't matter what we do if we don't take it head on and understand that the issue of personal responsibility and accountability is fundamental. It doesn't matter how we dress it up and, speak about, what we achieve here and there. We have to start somewhere. The guest speaker talked about Singapore. Have we been to Singapore, Dennis? And see what? Yeah, we didn't go. Right. We didn't go together. But you know what they had to do to reach where they are now? Mm-hmm. Are we prepared in Jamaica to do that? But we need to be if we want to transform this country in the next 50 years. I'm not going to talk about my lifetime again because we're running out of time. Mm-hmm. But we need to start now and stop this window dressing and this platitude and this, that is not taking us anywhere. So I think the whole issue of dealing with the whistleblowing where, from the little man, if him talk the truth, him get the same levels of protection, right, that the big man get. Right? Because a lot of time the little man know the truth and him know how the thing go, But we have to institutionalize equality, equity, in order to make this happen. My apology, I have to leave now.
Thank you, Dr. Grant. I appreciate your input, and we certainly wish you could have stayed for the entire discussion. But Mr. Thompson, I mean, along the same line about culture, right? And that has come out in the discussion about the need to change the culture. So there's an aspect of the culture that we have where I think we start to normalize things from their small acts of corruption. We start with the small ones. How do we tackle the small ones so they don't become bigger ones and bigger acceptance of things that are lacking integrity based on your experience in the private sector?
Okay. Well, there's no doubt there's a the culture exists, and I mean, we just have to face up to reality, and all the other panelists alluded to it, that the culture, informal, it is embedded in the society, and it has to change. It has to change. So we have to foster a culture to doing what is right. We can embark on a part of, training and educating individuals along a path that is geared towards, values of integrity, transparency, and honesty. So those should be the starting point where we embark on.
Thank you. I think Mr. Allen, you want to jump in, and then Mr. Lowe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Again, pardon the pun, I'm a system person. Personality don't fix problems. Personality go and come. In speak a Jamaican language. Every company have a mission statement and a vision statement, mostly. Everyone have system of recruitment process and processes. We have SOPs and policy non-stop, just like Jamaica and every other country have more laws than you can think about, not to mention the good Bible. So our problem is not lacking of information or things to do. What we're lacking is people with the courage to do it. Yes. The courage to resist the nonsense.
Leadership.
Go back to leadership. And the guest speaker, I know we're picking on him a bit, but this one, I highlight him on this one. Leadership by example. That's what I heard about the commissioner. And bigging her up more than she already need to be bigged up. She's a doctor. She don't need no more big up. It's leadership with compassion, but firm. There's a little philosophy in Bizarre, and in those of us who do HR and all them nice stuff. If you follow your process, and you set your KIPs, and you do performance appraisal and your system, you know who to train, who to retrain, who to cross transfer, who to eradicate, and keep the best of the best. There's no other way. We can go on until Jesus comes. And finally, I have to say this one. I could be sitting here, looking all slick. And a man call me off record and say, yo, Mr. President, me have some links of custom there, Make 2 calls for me, But you come up on the surface, dressed like puss, that's what they call it in Jamaica. Look sharp and immaculate. The man said, here goes a decent young man. But behind closed doors, some things that some of us do to undermine the system, to get ahead, because you want to go ahead of the Joe or the Gene. It is crazy. You talk about culture? Don't take me there. We grew up in a Nancy culture. Brand Nancy, Brad Tukuma. Hard to beat. But again, as I say, where I started, I once posited a certain thing to a certain person at the highest level in Jamaica. One of our prime ministers, I won't call the name, and I asked him to consider one little thing. In his own words, not my word, even though he invited me to present it. How would you describe the ideal Jamaican? Someone who upholds the law, live by certain values, encourage others to do likewise, while allowing others the same space to do likewise within the context of law. And then we talk about it and call them the acceptable norms of a civil society. Some of these things we don't want to face. But I don't want to be guilty of what I'm suggesting we don't do. It's overtalk.
Thank you, Mr.
Between now and the time when God called me home, I wouldn't like to be anywhere I can to help to influence some of those changes.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Mr. Lowe?
I think it comes down to simply rewards and sanctions with enforcement, and that is where the leadership comes in, the enforcement. If you can get away with something, if you can get away with squeezing something in the officer's hand for him not to give you the ticket, then you will do it. Brigadier, if he was willing to turn a blind eye, right, and the person could have got away with it, you'd have had another couple of persons in the security forces. But the sanction there was that he would have lost his job. So it comes down to reward and sanction. If we substitute punishment for the word sanction, normally the private sector doesn't like to hear it. It is the same thing, right? But we need reward and punishment. Persons need to be punished when they are corrupt, when they are doing the wrong thing. And the punishment must come at different levels, with the education, with the training, and all of that. And in some cases, the education will take precedent. But you have to punish and you have to reward. And that is how you will deal with that.
I have to come in here, if I may. I agree. But every punishment requires a due process. You require a witness who is brave enough to come forward. It requires a process to stand up and testify or otherwise give evidence. Go back to the word courage. If none of us are prepared to stand forward and to say, I saw, I witnessed, then due respect to you, Mr. Lowe, and what you've said, which is appropriate, it's lost. No, I'm not saying we're going to give up. I'm saying, I grew up in a country with a Marcus Garvey, and sometimes I'm a little embarrassed to know that in 2025, I'm still not able to see another Marcus Garvey anywhere close. But that's the country we come out of, the people of courage. If you can't stand up to your staff because you're afraid of somebody threatening you or whatever it is, we're in a problem, which is where we are. It's bad. But the fix, though, on the whistleblower issue, the acts, short of the acts, short of the processes, we have witness protection, we have different things, but at the same time, it needs people to stand up and be counted. Can't overemphasize that.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. And I want to follow up on that discussion about, sanction, punishment, leadership. And Mr. Thompson represents the Jamaica Brothers group. And I want to ask him, and then the others can jump in terms of your different organization. How do you support actively within your organization staff to do the right thing? So I know we're talking about courage of leadership and procedure, etc. Those things and what else? Is there anything else that you do? Your drivers are on the road and private sector is not immune from the culture of shortcuts and links and do a thing and all of that. So at Jamaica Brothers, how do you deal with that with your team that is out and about all across Jamaica? How do you support them to do the right thing?
Well, first of all, let me say that at Jamaica Brothers, we take a zero tolerance approach, towards acts of irregularities and all of those things. We have a stringent hiring program, which we just started. Conduct background checks and all sorts. Whether for employees or contractors, because we do have contractors as well. So it started from there, right? And we try and we have training, and we have mentorship programs. We have we also have some cross training, which we guide members how to operate. We have for each unit. There's a standard operating procedures which we have in place that is used as a guide to allow each individual to act in accordance with what is required.
All
If
right.
I-
Yes, Mr. McDonald.
Right, after that, I agree entirely with what was said a while ago, because that's the same kind of system that we have at the Kingston Wharves. My colleague Diana is here, Blake Bennett, and she will let you know that we have pushed back against what people call the wharf culture, where you have to give a man a thing to get your barrel and so on. If that is seen or heard of anywhere in our company, then you automatically know that you are not with us anymore. So we make it very clear what the rules are. We have our standard operating procedures, and we try to ensure that people live with the new culture of who the employee should be. Not accepting bribes, not accepting tips, and so on. It's a no-no. And when we enforce that with a degree of certainty and consistency, which is an important word, you know, and equitably, if the man down the bottom does it or the man up the top, then you know that automatically you're not with us and you can talk with the police afterwards. So the consistent application of the rules, the leadership that's required, the courage to say, no, we don't do this thing. And if a fellow employee sees that, they'll report it, because that is not our culture.
Thank you. And I think an important point came out in the discussion so far about sanctions. And I want to ask, so applying sanction is one thing, and you said it. Applying it and people seeing that it is being applied, and fairly so. And I want to ask maybe Mr. Lowe to jump in on this. So it's one thing to apply the sanction, but how important is it, whether in the public sector or private sector, that when the sanctions or the punishment is meted out for acts of corruption, how important it is for people to see and know that people are being punished, and as Mr. Allen said, that a process was followed, and this is the end result of the process that resulted from an action that was taken.
So I think the key words were just used, which is transparency, equity, and fairness. So as long as you have those when you are applying sanctions, then I think you will achieve the result. It is very important for persons to know before, even though your morality should call into play there. But persons should know the rules before, so that, like at Kingston Wharf, if you do X, the sanction is Y. And therefore, others should be able to see that the sanction is being applied, and that it is being applied fairly and in a very equitably and transparent manner. So those are the key words, for it to be transparent, fair, and equitable. And it is very important for others to be aware and to see. And I know it can be, depending on the sanction, it can be an issue, right? And that is where now leadership comes in, right? And the systems that you have in place to support that. But sanction or punishment does not necessarily mean all the time that someone is going to go to prison or you're going to get rid of the staff. It could mean counseling, right? It could very well mean that, right? That is sanction, right? And it could mean that everybody sees and knows that Mr. Kingsley Henry is getting counseling because he did something wrong, right? So it is also very important to build persons in that. But transparency is very important and for others to see.
Quickly. Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Mr. Allen,
I'll just come in briefly to your point. It's a simple little saying for those who practice some principles. You criticize in private and you compliment in public. When I walk around my office and my staff, those things that are complimentary, everybody know. Wait for a formal memo or commendation or to the employee of the month. They big them up. In the wrong, according to my office, and we have a discussion, and possibly including HR. And HR is made in a way where the room is so private that when you come in there, people don't know your business. Because some people assume they want to come on HR, and then they're dead. Point I'm making that though is that we are extremely judgmental as a people. We can be a bit too high-handed sometimes. I'm not getting out, say one of the best practices I can work with.
Right.
Every thesis that I've looked at, tell if you look upon best practice. Madam Commissioner, pardon me. But I guarantee you that everything, if not all things in custom, is designed on a system. And if she leaves tomorrow morning, she leaves a legacy that can stand on its own. That's it. Whatever personality come or go, not change the price or rise.
I want to make the point, though, that these two things are complementary.
Right, I agree.
Right? That is very important. So there are times for you to call the person in the office and nobody knows, and there are times when persons need to know.
On the punishment
right?
side.
And so those are complementary.
Right.
They are not different.
I agree.
May I just say something?
Yes, Mr. Madam.
Very quickly, a part of the airport experience that I had. One experience that has stayed with me is that some men were caught involved in money laundering and all kinds of stuff that involved the U.S. And they were to be extradited and taken to face the law. We actually I got a call indicating that there are some people from the Jamaican and American media that needed to come and see these people off. It wasn't convenient. It wasn't something that we wanted to do at the time because, airport operations requires time to plan. But they insisted that they wanted to show these men who have committed the wrongs going with their hands in the, what you call bangle? Yeah, bangle. Yeah.
Handcuff.
They wanted to show that they were being caught and they're going to face the full extent of the law. There is a time and place where the people who are doing wrong or who have done wrong, we need to show that, hey, we don't tolerate this, and here they are. We are showing them. Similarly, though, on the other side, we need to also big up the people who are doing right. We found somebody in our organization that found a large sum of funds. This is somebody who needed the funds, but she protected it and she ensured it was brought to the right channels. And what we did was to elevate that act of integrity to the entire organization, saying, here is somebody that has done something right. So we need to do both things. Expose the wrong and also promote that which is right.
Great. So my follow-on in this discussion would be, the theme speaks about shared responsibility, right? So how can we develop, and Mr. Madal, you may want to jump on this first, or anybody else who wants to, how can we develop strong partnership locally, private-public sector partnership, regionally, internationally, if those exist? How can we develop those partnerships to enhance integrity and to fight corruption, whether within our borders or across the border? How can we do that?
Yeah. So I think there are regional institutions already that we can participate in and learn from. CARICOM, for example, they have mechanisms in place that talks about corruption. And Jamaica stands to be in a good place if we continue in those discussions, but also provide some degree of leadership. We also can look at bilateral discussions. Recently, we've had conversations with countries like Turks and Haiti and others that have come across to discuss with us how we do what we do at Kingston Wharves. And that kind of sharing of information and training is important in that context. Also, intelligence sharing. There are very bad actors that they have their foot footprint in Jamaica, in other countries as well. So country, international sharing of information and data on corrupt practices and people is important. The other thing is that there is also, and customs has it, immigration as well, the APIS system, Advanced Passenger Information System, that kind of system that helps to look at who is coming into your country, what is coming into your country, sharing information across borders, I think will help in terms of that regional kind of a cooperation. Outside of that, we're talking about sharing technology as well. Now, in the international space, there is funding that may be available that we can get to bolster our systems of accountability. We do have, as was mentioned before, laws that we can look at other countries. What are the best practices? Do they do it better elsewhere? Can we learn from somebody else? So those kinds of things, I think, will help to bolster our systems of accountability and integrity and trust.
Let me break that down in a nutshell. And I'm going from my PSC hat. Again, every supplier that we engage business with, we have to ask them to provide us with a CT-PAC certification. To ensure what? That the same certification we receive to get your trust, to allow us to have our container come directly to our property, that before it leave wherever we abide from, them do the same sitting. That's all. And if them don't have a certification, they have to answer the minimum, some basic questions. But they have a security camera, but they have some little basic thing to make sure the supply chain is secure.
Yeah.
So you're talking about shared partnership? The shared is, customs say, to us in the business sector, join this set of processes, building some systems that cause us to trust you that not Mr. Allen, whether I'm there or not, it work. That when I come to the gate of security, check your ID, write it in a book, log it, give you another pass to go down to where you're going, the chassis number log, the driver name log, the bill of lading log. Listen, more log than in the forest. So, when I call my supplier overseas and say, I need X and Y, and then we have to do a risk analysis. Some of these things cost need to communicate more, yeah? I went charge them for this, you know. Risk analysis on each country, Ecuador, wherever, the higher the risk is of the particular country when it comes to contraband, for example, or any such thing, the more closer custom pay attention to the particular container when it gets here.
Right.
Vis-a-vis one that have a lower risk level. It named systems. Sorry if I sound too passionate.
and there you go, right? Pointing out as a member of the private sector, how we can implement systems to build trust and integrity, but at the same time, we are creating efficiency. So that all your members that you're talking about who are part of the AEO program.
Your boss says she want the money. What do you call it, Commissioner? The tariff? The tariff they call it?
The duties.
They want the revenue. So the more, a matter of fact, let me say this, pardon the guy, let me say this. You know, every time that the AEO reps put a little pressure on our company and some of my membership, not bad pressure, don't misunderstand me now. They remind me. I remind them, I say, your commissioner said that you ought to do nothing to prevent trade. Am I correct? Am I quoting you correct, Commissioner? That don't mean you must take shortcut or allow shortcut, you know. You see the point I'm making?
Right.
So what I'm saying, the best practices coming out of custom. I'm working with them now from 2014. And I'm not going to call some name, but we know the AEO manager, Mrs. Wilson. We know the whole team of them. Right? I've been working with them for all that time. Not that we don't have tensions, you know. There must be tension, but they're respectful tensions. And I repeat what I said earlier. My good looks don't have nothing to do with them come and do them work. I mean, I'm sure me have that still, but as I was saying.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. So we have an online audience, and we are going to take a question from our audience online. And just about this point, as well as we get closer to the end of this panel discussion, we'll open the floor for questions from our in-house audience. So there should be a microphone around somewhere, and if you're interested in asking a question, there are 2 microphones. You can raise your hand, and the microphone will get to you if you'd like to ask the panelists any questions. So one of our online viewers is asking if solicitors are found to be culpable in relation to corruption, are they sanctioned or referred to the JCF? And I'm not going to take this to be just a public sector question, but I think a private sector question as well. So how far do we go with sanction? Do we get other law enforcement involved?
The answer to that is yes. For the part of Jamaica Customs, we have an investigations unit, and we also have our intel unit and so on. But we work very closely with both the JDF and the Army, and we do cases together. MOCA as well, I say MOCA over there, FID. We work close with all of these entities. We do cases together, and we also refer cases to these entities, as well as do our own prosecution for those matters that we are able to do. But we do a lot of collaboration as well. So the answer is yes.
Right, and for those who may not know, I think if you're in-house, you may know by now, but Jamaica Customs also has a very strong internal affairs division that is a part of the modernization that has taken place at Jamaica Customs. And this forum that we are a part of, a panel discussion, is part of their strategy under the leadership of the Commissioner to tackle issues of anti-corruption and integrity. So that is also a plus. All right, so are there any questions from the audience? If you have a question for the panelists, you may raise your hand, and the microphone will get to you if you have a question. All right, so until you decide, I have 100 questions, so I came prepared just in case. So in Jamaica, over the last year in Jamaica Customs, one of the things that we have seen on the border is that we have had a record number of seizures of firearms and ammunition. And I'm directing this question first to Mr. Lowe. In the context of border security and Jamaica Customs' overall mandate, how important is integrity and building trust when we think about the risk that we face daily as a nation?
I say use the word important. I would say essential. It's at the core. It's at the core in terms of our staff, and it's at the core in terms of our system. So the system themselves must stand up to scrutiny, but it's very important with respect to the persons we employ. And you speak of the Internal Affairs Division. This division, which is putting on this forum, ensure that the proper background checks are done, and if there are issues with staff, we refer staff for investigation and so on. But that integrity is not one way. I just want to say that. And that is why we have partnerships, right? That we work with private sector, we work with other government entities, because integrity, I use a strange term, it has to be equal, it has to meet, right? If one set has integrity and the next set doesn't, then you're going to be fighting and fighting there. And so it is essential, it is critical, it is important for all players to have integrity. And we try to assure that through our, what I call the governance mechanism. So it's not just the internal affairs division. Customs is subject to a lot of regulatory requirements, including the Contractor General, not Contractor General, Integrity
Auditor
Commission.
General.
It also includes the Ministry of Finance, the Auditor General, but it also includes private sector. That is why we have a monthly quality assurance meeting. Issues are brought to us, and we have reporting mechanisms through the Internal Affairs Unit, as well as Border Protection, as well as the Commissioner or any member staff. You can report, and we will deal with the issue. So it's very important to us, and there are governance mechanisms to ensure that we are holding everybody accountable, not just customs, but all the players accountable.
May I?
Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
There's a component that I think we haven't touched yet. I'd like to maybe introduce it here. Resource allocation of all levels, human and capital. If the appropriate systems are supported by the appropriate resources, for example, technology, custom is a huge responsibility on the port. Huge. We go back to the guns and ammunition recovery. That not only takes intelligence, but it also takes technology, and it takes people of good conscience. Someone who is not willing to turn a blind eye. So if you're properly resourced based on your need assessments, and none of you have unlimited funds, no? But you do the best you can. And build a system and resource it appropriately with the appropriate technology, especially now, with everything nowadays is technology driven. You have a better chance of succeeding. There's no perfection, but at least you have a better chance of succeeding. And to want to be sound like a recurring decimal, those of us who are able to, one, identify where resource needs, two, identify the appropriate systems, three, effect those systems. And that is a line that one of my favorite lines, that if you ask somebody to do something, if it's not inspected, it's not going to be done. People don't do what you expect of them. People do what you inspect. And I guarantee you, most organizations, to include again the Jamaica Customs Agency, the RGD, who is now an executive agency, and I dare say the Jamaica Consular Force, which is improving, are applying a lot more of those systems. Our own organization, I've seen tremendous benefit. Some company go as far as bringing overseas consultant, call them coaches. It works. Yes. We better stop the old way of thinking. I mean, how old are you? But we start resist change, right, and accept change. Because it's coming. There's one absolute in this world: debt and taxes and change.
Thank you. So Mr. Allen, that's a perfect segue. If there are no questions from the audience, well, there's a question from our guest speaker, the Brigadier.
Again.
Good afternoon, all, and thank you to the members of the panel. Very enlightening discussion. And my question is for any member of the panel. We've mentioned several times the whole idea that trust is easily lost, very difficult to gain. And what I'm asking for, if we could educate us or enlighten us on some specific concrete measures that could be employed to regain public trust after a significant corruption scandal.
I maybe attempt that. One way, really, is, in my own opinion, for those of us who call ourselves civil society and different NGOs who are, quote unquote, allegedly impartial to the various processes, and I dare say I go as far as speak to the moral compass of a society, which are usually guided in a society like ours by the church. Not putting them on any specific responsibility, but we are a God-fearing country, it is said. And again, I go back to my theme. I'm a little uncomfortable saying one thing and doing another thing, which seems to be another culture we have. We have some bad culture, but we have some good ones too, So, to answer to your question directly, in my own opinion, it's going to take a lot more of us like yourself who are prepared to call it out when you see it. And if you witness it and you're required to give a statement or evidence, come forward. There's absolutely no other way. Some people say, no, what will kill me? I know that problem. If Marcus Garvey have said that, maybe he would still be enslaved. There's no easy answer to your question, to be honest with you. But the beginning is one personal responsibility to reflect. Every community begins with an individual. What will I do? What moral compass will guide my action? What informing my little company, my little private business, I won't compromise? Do I want the bling at the expense of my moral values? Or I can ignore the bling and live with me as I am? Hard choices. No easy fix. Last thing I say, at 65 years old, I'm not that disappointed, but I have some disappointments. We celebrate leadership in this country because of title, not so much because of their deeds. One of my staff came to my office one day and looked behind me and some certificates. And they went and told them friends of Miss Allen, that bragged upon me. Jamaica culture. I said, no, it was meant to be motivational, It was meant to say, this is a boy who dropped out of secondary school. A boy who left his family at Jamaica for 3 years and got college in foreign for 3 years. It's not about me, I'm just saying. And some of you may never heard about me before. You can go do your research, maybe. I'm in public life somewhat, and so on. But no, I'm a little bit passionate on those issues. And that's story.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Mr. Lou, you wanted to jump in, and then Mr. McDonald, and then we see if we have any more questions, and then we take the final round of questions for the panels, and then wrap up.
So there are two things that I will say. We have been using the word transparency, and if and when you have a major corruption incident, you need to be transparent about it to let people understand, and when people understand, they'll work with you towards change. It is very important for us to be transparent. But the second thing is that whenever you have a major corruption incident, your reputation before, which you will lose some of it, is very important to your reputation going forward. So if you were not doing the things that you're supposed to do, you didn't have high moral and all of those things, you are going to be difficult. So you have to start before, and you have to also be transparent.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Mr. McDonald, you wanted to jump in?
Probably just to add two things. I was looking at some of the practices across different countries, and Chile had a major corruption scandal that affected them. And what they had to do was to look back at their laws. What was the loophole that would have caused this thing to happen? And they had to look back at their laws, and they had to make stricter transparent, and more robust laws that would govern the whole conduct of the people in office. Support that by, as we said earlier, strong leadership that has a zero tolerance approach to any kind of corrupt practices. That's one. Then the second thing, look at concrete ways to reduce human discretion in the processes so that somebody, again, let me just give you an example in our case. And this might be a little bit troubling, but I'll say it notwithstanding, right? We know that in the process of treating with the clearance of barrels and so on, people like the opportunity to come and negotiate what is in the barrel and what is not in the barrel. What we want to do is to take that out of the process and create a process where there is standardization and people know that there's a predictability about what is charged, what the system is, who to pay, and so on. So we take human discretion out of it as much as possible and use technology, use systems, use digital exchange of information to superintend all of that. So it eliminates now the need for somebody to try to bribe somebody else to get through. All right? So processes, digitization, and also look at your laws and ensure that they stand up.
Awesome. You have a question, Mrs. Reed? A comment. All right, so we'll take the comment from Mrs. Reed, and then I will do a final. You have a question, Kimberly? All right, so we'll take Mrs. Reed's comment. We'll take a question from Kimberly, and then we will wrap the panel discussion. Thank you.
I think one of the things, based on my experience, having to deal with a mandatory thing that I have to do as a public official, and I've said it to the entity, if we want to ensure that corruption is minimized and eliminated, we have to ensure that the systems and structures that we have in place support compliance. We have to make it easy for people to do what is right, because when that is not in place, then people will try to find other ways of getting the business done. So compliance.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed. Kimberly, you had a question?
So good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
My question is to each member of the panel. We're speaking of building trust, but how is it that your organization is measuring public trust? How do you know that you have public trust, and what are the indicators that show a decline or an improvement in public trust?
That sounds like almost a wrap-up question, right? That almost sounds like a perfect wrap-up question. And since you have posed it, Kimberly, to the panel, all the panel, I'll ask you to take the question: how are you measuring, or your organization measuring trust? And I will add something to it, so you speak once, which is there anything that you wanted to say on the theme this evening, and you wanted to leave with us this afternoon, that you didn't get an opportunity to say? You may answer Kimberly's question and also make your closing remark for the panel discussion. And we may start with Mr. McDonald, and we'll come this way back to me.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good question. And how do we measure it? One, as you know, trust has to also do with perception, how people perceive you are in fact acting. And what we have tried to do is ensure that the leadership of the organization demonstrates that we are acting ethically and with integrity. We mentioned that we try to be clear with our policies about how you do business with us at Kingston Wharves. And you would have remembered that whole matter of no taking of bribes. So we try to ensure that we do that. And we said earlier, we put up our systems as trying to ensure that people know that you can come to our organization. People who are serving you because we have checked their background. We know that we are putting people out there who are actors of integrity. We have systems that you can go to. We are encouraging more people to use our online platform to do business with us. So we take the whole matter out of wondering how you're going to do business with us into a degree of certainty. When you come to us, there's a standard way that you come into Kingston Wharves. There's a standard system that you go through. So we try to do that. In addition to that, I'll mention some of the things that I didn't get to say earlier, or some of the things I'd like to underscore. In any system, the clear act of leadership demonstrating that it is against corruption is what must preside in a situation like this. And certainly whenever we find that people are acting corruptly, we are not afraid to expose it and to hand it over to the agencies that address it. Clear leadership, zero tolerance. If it happens at the top, it's going to be exposed. If it happens at the bottom, it's going to be exposed. The second thing is the need for organizations to ensure that their systems are robust. And I mentioned earlier the whole matter of digitizing some of those things and so on. The more you can have systems that are predictable, it was mentioned earlier, simple, and we are working on simplifying our systems. We're not perfect at all, but simple, it's the better that it goes. And then the third thing is ensuring that there is a transparency about our business. And I don't think I need to say more about that. Transparency will take the cake on that. And finally is a forum for what people would call civil engagement. We haven't said much about that. But the public should be given an opportunity to look at our organization and say, I don't like that, so-and-so did that. Do we have an opportunity, a forum for people to be able to freely criticize us, talk to us, say something about the systems? And if we do, then the more we are open, transparent to public scrutiny, then the better. We are on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Kingston Wharves. We have to act ethically. And that's also a measure for us. Our name is out there. We get funds, public funds. And therefore, we actually have to operate in that space with integrity.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mr. Thompson, you want to weigh in on the question and give us your final remarks as well, please?
Okay. Well, certainly. In answer to the question, for us at Jamaica Ballers, it would be definitely the quality products that we put out. So it's about the processes that goes into manufacturing that end product. You know, we look at the whole leadership and all of that. You know, we employ systems that can stand up to scrutiny. We embark on a process where we do internal checks. We have a system whereby we, different departments, you know, get to grade each other. So we do things like those so that we can, at the end of the day, stand up to, you know, scrutiny. In terms of the, you know, engagement of all stakeholders, you know, is key in achieving transparency and you know, integrity and all of that. It is not a one-sided approach. And as you said, there really should be avenues so that these feedback can be ventilated and clearly assessed, and corrective actions taken and implemented. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Lowe?
So I think this issue of trust is measured through our reputational management, which is ultimately how satisfied customers are. And for us, apart from the surveys and the complaints mechanisms, which are actual ways of getting feedback, we are also very active in social media. We are active in a lot of regional and international fora that we also get feedback. So I think trust is ultimately measured in terms of what people say and how they react, behave with you. And there are ways to capture both of those. For me, I think it is important to stress the need for systems and procedures to, one, be based on best practice, and best practice does not mean Jamaican practice, because that's the way Jamaica is different from other people. So we want to do it our way. What it means is internationally recognized best practice, which we would have been a part of. It's very important for our systems to be, and our processes to be simple and efficient, so that you don't have to try another means or another way. So simplification, transparency, international best practice, and I think customs, as we are speaking now, that is why we adopt, for example, and implement the revised Arusha Declaration, the revised Kyoto Declaration for the simplification of processes. That is why we are part of ISO Quality Management Framework, and that is why we subject ourselves to all of these regulatory requirements, which sometimes create the bureaucracy, but with technology and good governance, you can make the process, and good leadership, you can make the process simple, transparent, and based on best practices.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Mr. Allen,
the
question and your final comments.
I want to show off, so. But seriously, though, I would encourage every Jamaican company to model themselves from the Jamaica Customs Agency. Back in my time, one of the companies, or three of the companies we took out at the time as a part of our study was General Electric, way back then, Air Jamaica, and Grace Kennedy under Carter Alexander for best practices locally. So you're right. Your question, though, and I want to use my wrap-up session to mention that you mentioned corruption on a broader level, and it's a topical subject. It's political, and it's many things. But those of us who are familiar with me at forums like these, we know I can't finish without using the word honesty. That's what we're lacking. Possibly me too. We say the right thing, we talk the right thing, we look nice, we do everything nice. But to find the honesty in us, to do what we must. And I'll give you an example. As my friend likes to use the word example. Let me give you one, which I've not done yet. I have lived to see people who, when they finish their PhDs in economics, for argument's sake, or any other discipline, in analyzing the various policies of the two parties that are contesting to become government, have one position until they join one or two of the party. It changed now in line with the party. Dishonesty is a poor problem in this country. We go for the highest bidder. We're struggling, but there's a fix. This is a start. And I will not end, I feel remiss if I end my comment by not saying simple. People live what they learn. And social media is full of bloggers. Every kind of information out there. This is not one time you have JBC TV only. And Gleaner Company only. But it's one source of information. And the average person is not listening to one of my friends, pardon me, when I tell him that I was going to be on a program some years ago when we did the first one, and he come in and GIS, he said, GIS, but I don't know what GIS. These are real issues, you know.
GIS is on social media, by the way.
No, I know. I'm just saying. But
I said GIS looking.
some social media getting more traction than, and not bashing anybody. I'm just saying what the reality is.
Right.
Guys, I am data-driven, you know, largely speaking. For example, I did some research before coming here, anecdotally. Never necessary. Because you like to be data-driven. Jamaicans like to speak from the gut. We like to speak emotionally. And we challenge you with aggression without any iota of evidence. Don't invite me back here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been, as I promised, a discussion that would have been fruitful, full of thought-provoking ideas and experiences to help us to move forward as we seek to build trust, strengthen integrity, and understanding that is a shared responsibility. And that is important. You know why that is important? Because many people look on the public sector and say, why are we not corrupt in the public sector? But we never spend enough time discussing the corruptors, right? And it's something I've heard my commissioner said in the past. And so I am happy that we have taken the initiative as an agency to move the discussion along from it being a one-sided discussion and a one-sided responsibility to understand that it's a shared responsibility. All right? So put your hands together for our esteemed panelists as I invite at this time. She does not look anywhere like Mr. Maurice Barrett. So I'll invite Miss Kenisha Morris to come this time and to do the vote of thanks. Are you doing the vote of thanks or just a presentation? Just a presentation? All right, come. We'll take the presentation and we can skip Mr. Barrett after that, right? So a little token from the Jamaica Customs Agency for our panelists, and I'm going to say Mr. Lowe is getting one of the tokens too. Right. In the meantime, we ask Mr. Barry to make his way closer to the platform.
My pleasure.
We know that, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner, a little bit more than thank you. Thank you, Kadisha. I appreciate it. Thank you. We will remain seated. As Mr. Barrett, you can come and do the vote of thanks. Since we are just about wrapping up, we will they will return the lectern for Mr. Barrett. Or you don't need it? No, he doesn't need it. That's fine. It might block him.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
I see that we have had some very frank and serious discussions, but there is a light-hearted element to it too. But you know, I stand here today to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the Jamaica Customs Agency and the Internal Affairs Division, who have been at the center of today's activities. And as such, I wish to acknowledge at this time, even though our chairperson and a member of the advisory board have left, I wish to thank them and acknowledge them, alongside Dr. Velmarikis Walker, our commissioner. And as I deliver this vote of thanks, There are several things that have come out in our discussions today. Leadership is amongst one of them. And from one of our very esteemed panelists, she has gotten her accolades today for the leadership she has brought to the JCA. And so, Commissioner, we thank you for that continued leadership. A very special thank you to our guest speaker, Brigadier Clark. Your insights were not only thought-provoking, but also energizing as you brought the issue of corruption to the fore and the need for that collective action. We also seek to thank our in-person audience as well as our online audience. The many questions that have been put forward, the engaging participation, and I know we closed with some very strong and serious questions being posed to our panelists today. But again, it speaks to the kind of engagement that we seek to deliver as an agency, not just to internal stakeholders, but to our wider audience as well. And so that has helped to drive the conversation forward today. We recognize the invaluable contribution of our JCA staff. Many of our JCA staff are here amongst the participants, but there are some who I must single out. They have been involved from planning through to execution, and as such, your hard work behind the scenes have ensured the smooth flow of today's events. Even with the fire alarm going off, we managed to come back together and transition very well. And we're still on time. A little out, but still on time given the challenges. So Brenton, Dwayne, Patrick, Natalie, the team, many persons who are external to internal affairs, transport and facilities, your dedication, your professionalism, your hard work. We appreciate it. All right? Let us not forget Nikhil.
Hey.
Nikhil has been ensuring that our online presence is felt. The reach of customs is not limited to this room. It's not limited to Jamaica. And such, he has been integral in that. Our suppliers, our service providers, the media, GIS, whose logistical and technical support have made it possible to host a seamless and high-quality event. Again, we thank you for your partnership with the JCA. It has been ongoing. There's a special group I want to single out, and that is the JCA choir.
Yeah.
Let us hear it for the choir. When we speak of the beauty of their blended voices, it is a stark reminder of the necessity for collective effort to bring about success. And they have demonstrated that in song and in melody today. The internal affairs team, yes, I left you for last on the JCA list. I must thank the team for all of their efforts over the last few months, leading up to last night and again this morning, to ensure that all things were in order for this event. There's another group I wish to also thank, and it is the AC Hotel and their staff. We have been working with them quite assiduously. Many calls, many emails, many requirements and requests, but they have stood tall and they have met all of those requirements.
Awesome.
And so I'm very grateful for their assistance. And as we close today, it is a reminder that we must strive for a renewed commitment to integrity, transparency, and accountability. And you notice I left someone out, a group, and that group stands behind me. And that is members of our esteemed panel. And I hope I'm standing to the correct side. I want to thank members of our esteemed panel. external and internal. They have done a wonderful job of ensuring that we had frank discussions today and some key takeaways. And not only have we had frank discussions, but we have done so in a meaningful manner based on experience with some of the very systems and processes we're trying to strengthen. So again, gentlemen, thank you very much for your participation as panelists. And last but not least, Mr. Kingsley Henry, our moderator. Are you going to stand, sir?
Thank you.
Oh. Mr. Henry has done a wonderful job, and he has done so seamlessly. And again, we must thank him for his commitment and his willingness. And so I applaud you, and I thank you very much, sir, for your endeavor today. Even though Kingsley took a poke at me and has left me without a lectern. But, you know, I thank him for what he has done. And I just want to thank everyone, in closing, for your continued participation and contribution until we meet again in a similar or larger fashion. Thank you all.
Thank you. So as we wrap today,